They say time moves in silence, but not today. On this day, June 26, 2025, the silence has been shattered. Not by the sound of man's machines, not by the chaos of another headline or the fury of a rising storm, but by something greater, something ancient, something eternal. A trumpet has sounded in the realm that governs the seen and unseen, and yet most did not hear it. Most did not even pause. The air changed, the atmosphere shifted, but the world kept scrolling, kept buying, kept laughing, kept sleeping. But the question is not whether the trumpet sounded. The question is, were you awake to hear it? The voice of heaven is not always loud in the way the world expects. It doesn't thunder through your speakers or trend on your timeline. It speaks in frequencies the heart must be tuned to catch, a stillness before the shaking, a whisper before the roar. And now, in the midst of the noise, a clarion call has broken through, yet only a remnant has ears to hear. The trumpet is not a random sound, it is an alarm, not for your morning commute or to remind you of your next meeting. It is the sound that separates time. It is heaven's signal that something has shifted, that the time of man is drawing short, and the time of reckoning draws near. This is not a conspiracy nor a theory, it is truth, and truth doesn't care if you're ready, truth arrives on time. We have become so accustomed to noise that we cannot hear the sound that matters most. We hear the updates, the stock alerts, the scandals, the laughter tracks of dead-end entertainment. But we miss the voice that shakes mountains and splits seas. The trumpet has sounded, but our ears are dulled with distractions, our hearts weighed down by convenience, our eyes fogged by the illusion of control. But the trumpet doesn't sound for the distracted. It sounds for the cold. It is the sound of awakening, the cry of a midnight watchman saying, "Arise, the time is now." Yet how many will roll over and drift back into their digital dreams? How many will ignore the tremble in their spirit, the echo in their soul, the stirring they can't explain? Because this is not just another day, it is a threshold, a moment that divides what was from what will be. Do you feel it? Beneath the surface of your daily life, something is breaking open. The world is not as stable as it pretends. The systems are failing, the economy that seemed invincible, cracking, the morality that once stood firm. Eroded, the institutions that claimed to protect you, faltering, and yet still the masses sleep. But the trumpet does not sound for the masses. It sounds for the few, the watchers, the remnant, the ones whose hearts still burn for something more than likes and luxuries. The ones who refuse to be lulled into spiritual amnesia. If you are hearing this now, it is not by chance. Heaven does not waste sound. The trumpet has a purpose, to pierce through the apathy, to shake the soul, to wake the sleeping. Not because it is too late, but because there is still a moment left, a moment to return, a moment to repent. A moment to rise, but don't mistake the delay for denial. The trumpet is not a suggestion, it's a summons. It's not asking politely, it's announcing reality. The king is not far off, the judge is not silent. The hour is not endless, and if the trumpet has sounded, then it means something is coming behind it. In ancient days, the trumpet meant war, or the arrival of a king, or the gathering of the people. Today, it means all three. War is rising in the unseen realms. A kingdom is advancing, and the called must be gathered. You've felt it, haven't you? That unease you couldn't name, that tension in your spirit, that sense that things are not what they appear to be. That's not anxiety, it's a warning. That's not paranoia, it's discernment. Heaven is trying to get your attention. Not to scare you, but to wake you, because those who wake now will stand, but those who sleep through the trumpet will be caught unaware. So I ask you not out of drama, but out of urgency, are you awake? The trumpet has sounded, And it has not only awakened, but it has exposed. For what the sound from heaven uncovers is just as important as what it calls forth. And now, the hidden fault lines of a dying age are beginning to crack open before our eyes. We are watching the unraveling of the very systems man trusted in. The systems that were built without God, the altars raised in the name of progress, the kingdoms of self, of power, of greed, these are not just faltering, they are failing. You can feel it, you can see it. The ground beneath us is no longer solid. The culture that once held some sense of moral gravity has cast it off for chaos. The institutions we once believed were pillars have become shadows of what they were, and the voices that once led have become echoes in a hall of confusion. The system is failing because it was never built to last. It was never built on truth. It was never built on righteousness. It was built on sand, and now the tide is rising. We have exalted systems above the one who made us. We crowned kings who promised safety, economies that promised wealth, technologies that promised connection, but what have they given us? A generation more anxious than any before, a society more divided, an age more lost. The more we leaned on the system, the more it hollowed us out. The systems of man have always declared themselves gods. Egypt did it, Babylon did it, Rome did it. And now this modern age does it too, with more arrogance than ever before. We build towers of Babel with microchips and virtual altars. We proclaim ourselves enlightened, evolved, advanced, but the fruit tells another story. And what is that fruit? A world where children are confused, marriages are broken, truth is mocked, and evil parades as good. This is the harvest of the system. The trumpet did not sound into a vacuum. It sounded into the middle of this, into the middle of a world unraveling. It sounded because what is coming will not be survived by those still clinging to the system. You cannot hold onto the sinking ship while trying to step onto solid ground. One must be let go. One must be forsaken. The kingdom that is coming cannot share space with the system that is dying. And what is the system, truly? It is anything we have trusted more than God. It is the idol we served in secret. It is the comfort we protected at the cost of our calling. It is the structure we built, thinking it would protect us from judgment. But now judgment is not at the door. It has entered the city, and no man-made wall will keep it out. Yet even in the shaking, most will still not see. When the stock markets crumble, they will call for regulation. When the governments collapse, they will call for new leaders. When the morality fails, they will redefine it. But what they will not do, what they refuse to do is repent. They will patch the system, they will paint over the cracks. But they will not tear down the idols, and that is why it must all come down. It is mercy that the system fails. It is grace that the illusion ends. Because as long as the system stands, we think we can stand without him. But when it falls, we are brought to the place of decision. Will we curse the shaking, or will we return to the rock? There is a shaking coming to every system, to every nation, to every power and principality, not to destroy the innocent, but to break the prideful, not to punish the lost, but to awaken them. The shaking is not wrath, it is mercy. Because only in the breaking of false foundations can the true foundation be revealed. And if you think this is the end, then you do not know the nature of God, for he breaks only to rebuild. He wounds only to heal, but only those who turn can be restored. Only those who humble themselves can rise. The trumpet has sounded not just to wake you, but to wean you off the systems of man, to call you out. To call you higher, to call you home. The system is failing, but the kingdom is rising, and only one will remain. The trumpet has sounded, the systems are crumbling, and now comes the most critical moment, not for the world, but for you. Because after the sound, after the shaking, comes the choice, the ancient choice. The same choice given in every age of turning, every hour of shaking. Will you remain asleep in the comforts of illusion, or will you awaken to the truth that demands your soul? This is not a passive moment. It is not a time to simply observe and comment. This is the hour that separates the called from the complacent, the watchers from the wanderers, the awakened from the asleep. The trumpet is not background noise. It is a summons, and it demands an answer. But the tragedy of our generation is not ignorance. It is indifference. It's not that we don't know. We do know. Deep down, every soul can feel it. Something has changed. Something has shifted. The world is not what it was even a year ago, but instead of facing it, we medicate it. We bury it beneath entertainment, drown it in distractions, mute it with noise. The trumpet is sounding, but so many are choosing sleep. They choose the sleep of comfort. They say, "I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I don't want to think about it." They cover their ears and close their eyes and call it peace, but it's not peace. It's sedation. It's the sleep before the storm, the sleep of the passenger who dreams while the ship sails into the iceberg. And still the trumpet sounds, but why? Why would heaven send a sound so piercing, so urgent, if it knew many would not listen? Because it's not calling the crowd. It's calling the remnant. It's calling the one. It's calling you. You who sense that something's not right. You who feel the weight of eternity pressing in on this passing age. You who know there must be more to life than schedules and screens and survival. You've heard it, haven't you? That whisper behind the noise, that pull in your spirit, that ache that no success, no relationship, no escape could fix. That's not confusion, it's calling, that's not fear. It's awakening, but you must choose. You must choose between slumber and awakening, between the system and the kingdom, between what is easy and what is eternal. And understand this. Awakening is not comfortable. Awakening is not polite. It will cost you. It will disturb your schedule, disrupt your habits, challenge your beliefs. It will ask you to walk away from the crowd, to lay down idols, to speak truth in a world that punishes it. But it will also give you back your soul, because while the system offers ease, only the kingdom gives life. You see, it's not just about hearing the trumpet, it's about responding to it. It's about rising, about standing, about turning from the sleep of compromise to the clarity of conviction. It's about being willing to live awake in a world that wants you unconscious. You don't have to shout. You don't have to preach. You simply have to stand, to refuse the lullaby of the age, to keep your lamp burning when others let theirs go out, to live with eyes wide open, heart surrendered, feet planted. And the moment you choose that, you mark yourself, not with a badge the world can see, but with a seal that heaven does not forget. You become part of the remnant, the few who still see, still seek, still believe. The few who know that truth is not defined by culture, and destiny is not dictated by the masses. And understand this too, there will be opposition. The world loves the sleeping, it hates the awake. It rewards the compliant, it mocks the courageous, but you were not born for comfort. You were not placed in this moment by accident. You were born for such a time as this. The trumpet didn't sound in your lifetime by chance. It sounded now because this is your hour. Your window, your decision. The world is darkening, but the light within you was meant to shine now, not later. Not when it's safe, not when it's easy now. So choose to rise, choose to awaken. Choose to break with the system and walk with the kingdom. Because the trumpet has sounded, and it is sounding for you. The trumpet has not sounded to condemn, but to call. It did not break the silence to destroy, but to draw back those who still have breath in their lungs and purpose in their bones. For while judgment may begin, mercy is still extended. And that's what so many forget. this is not the end of the story. The shaking isn't the last word. The failure of the system is not your final chapter. This is not the closing bell. It is the call to return. You were not created to wander in circles, trapped in cycles of sin, shame, and compromise. You were not formed in the secret place of the Most High, only to spend your life beneath the weight of this fallen system. No, you were chosen, you were marked, and now is the hour to return and to rise. The call is not to religion, not to rituals, not to empty forms. It is a call back to righteousness. Not the righteousness of self or of pride or of performance, but the righteousness that flows from repentance, from surrender, from walking once more with the God who made you. That kind of righteousness shakes the earth. That kind of righteousness builds altars that cannot be torn down by culture or time. That kind of righteousness stands when kingdoms fall. There's something holy happening in this moment. And if you listen closely, not with your ears, but with your spirit, you can feel it, a yearning, a drawing. Like a voice calling from far off, yet close enough to touch. It says, come home, come back. It's not too late, and yet still many hesitate. They think, but I've wandered too far. I've failed too many times. I've compromised too much. But let me tell you something eternal. Your failure is not greater than His mercy. Your history does not disqualify your destiny. In fact, your brokenness is the very proof that you are the one He's calling. Because the call of God is not sent to the perfect. It's sent to the prodigals. It's sent to those with dirt on their hands and dust on their feet. It's sent to those who still remember what it felt like to walk with Him before the system seduced them, before the world dulled their fire, before the distractions became addictions. And the call is not only to return. It is to rise, to stand again, not as you once were, but as you were always meant to be, whole, set apart, burning with truth in a generation that's gone cold. But to rise, you must lay something down. You must lay down the idols, the pride, the comfort, the approval of man. You must empty your hands of the things you've clung to so that He can fill them with what you were born to carry. You can't rise and stay low. You can't soar while chained to what's killing you. The voice is calling now, louder than the thunder of headlines, deeper than the noise of news feeds. It's the same voice that spoke to Abraham, to Moses, to the prophets, to the apostles. It's the voice that still speaks today. And it is not a voice of shame. It is the voice of return. Do you hear it? It's not too late. The door is still open. The mercy is still flowing. The invitation is still extended. But don't assume that offer will last forever. There comes a moment when the call ceases, and the silence that follows will not be mercy. It will be justice. The trumpet has sounded. The clock is moving. The time of decisions is not in the future. It is now. You don't need a platform. You don't need a title. You need only to answer. You need only to say, "Here I am." That is enough. That has always been enough. That one prayer can break chains. That one moment of surrender can rewrite an entire life. And when you return, when you rise, you will not rise alone, because there is a remnant all across the earth. Quiet, burning, unshaken. They've heard the same sound. They've answered the same call, and they are rising together. This is the hour. The trumpet has sounded. The systems are failing. The sleepers are choosing. The prodigals are returning. The remnant is rising, and now it is your turn. Answer the call.